Hi, I'm Reverend Dr. Marlene Morris, and welcome to Spirit Central. That's what I like to think of us as, and I like to think of this as your weekly spiritual spa, your Sunday spiritual indulgence, if you will. We're here to help you feel better if you're feeling bad, and to help you feel even better if you're already feeling fine. And we can serve as a spiritual urgent care if that happens to be what you need in any given moment. Just ask. If you are here for the first time, welcome. I hope that you will make this a regular Sunday habit. And as I would like to remind you, I'm also here on Wednesday nights at 7, so feel free to join me at any time or to simply just come back to this spot and replay me. I'm here 24/7. If you've been with us for any length of time, you know that I love to mention that Ernest Holmes, the author of The Science of Mind and the founder of religious science, used to open his television and radio shows with the words, "There is a power for good in the universe, and you can use it." If you're here for the first time, just know that I really do believe those words are absolutely true. And the really good news is that you can't not use it. It's factory installed. In fact, you're using it all the time. Because the way it works is that it's done unto you as you believe. That's a significant part of what we believe here. And if you want to know more, we also believe that we're here to remember who we are. That we are children of creation. We're here to remember that we are created in the image and likeness of God, of creation, of whatever you choose to call the creative motivating force of the universe. We are here to heal our misconceptions and to release whatever beliefs no longer serve us. We are here to learn how to use our divine inheritance to make our lives and our world a better place. We are here to be awake, to heal, to inspire, to uplift, to make whole ourselves and our world. And that's kind of where it all starts. So if that rings a bell for you, if that touches you, if that seems to resonate with your thinking, then stick around. Learn more about us and let us learn a little bit more about you. Now, I love to get your thinking right from the get-go, because the last thing I want you to do is leave your brain at the door. So here's today's question. How has the pandemic changed your life? Have you found a blessing in that yet? Think on that, will you? While I talk about what I'm going to talk about today. And when the talk's over, please feel free to ask questions or comment on what I've said and let me know how I can support you in prayer. So for now, I'm going to just jump off and get to talking and we'll take it from there and see where we end up, shall we? Now, I don't think there is anyone who has not been affected by the challenges of the last nearly 3 years now. Some by the virus itself, some by the loss of loved ones, some by the unexpected side effects of the disease, some emotional, fear, doubt, uncertainty, loneliness, some more material, unemployment, which converts to different kinds of loss, and certainly, if nothing else, a good deal of inconvenience. How has the pandemic affected your life? Certainly, I would think, if we felt we had a choice, we would unchoose this, wouldn't we? Well, If we can't unchoose it, and we can't, it's here, what if we were to look at it differently? What if instead of just the awfulness of it, we were to find something else in it? In an article in the Financial Times in 2020, when the pandemic was new and hadn't caused quite yet all of the havoc that it has since then, Arundhati Roy wrote an article called "The Pandemic is a Portal." A portal. To what, you might ask? Well, let's see what she says. Writing from India, but looking at the world, she says, what is this thing that has happened to us? It's a virus, yes. And in and of itself, it holds no moral brief. But it is definitely more than a virus. Some believe it's God's way of bringing us to our senses. Others that it's a Chinese conspiracy to take over the world. Whatever it is, coronavirus has made the mighty kneel and brought the world to a halt like nothing else could. Our minds are still racing back and forth, she writes, longing for a return to normality, trying to stitch our future into our past and refusing to acknowledge the rupture. But the rupture exists. And in the midst of this terrible despair, it offers us a chance to rethink the doomsday machine that we have built for ourselves. Nothing, she writes, nothing could be worse than a return to normality. She goes on. Historically, pandemics have forced humans to break with the past and imagine their world anew. This one is no different. It is a portal, a gateway between one world and the next. We can choose to walk through it, dragging the carcasses of our prejudice and hatred, our avarice, our databanks and dead ideas, our dead rivers and smoky skies behind us. Or we can walk through lightly, with little luggage, ready to imagine another world, and ready to fight for it. The article moved me deeply, made me think and rethink. I had touched on the idea before, but never actually spent time working with it. So here's what I know. We live in a spiritual world. And that spirit cannot be limited. Not by space, not by time, not even by a worldwide pandemic. It is as creative, as powerful, as unlimited today as it ever has been. And all that Spirit knows is creation and realization, making real what begins in thought. Before they call, we have been told, before they call, I shall answer. Before they call, before they pray, if you will, I shall answer. And when you pray, I believe you must, in the words of one who healed the sick and made the blind see and the lame walk, and who, because of his faith, changed the world, you must Believe that you have, and then you shall receive. Believe that you have. Belief then is the thing, the main ingredient, the yeast that makes the prayer rise above the appearances and into that rarefied air that is the region of God, of creation, of spirit. We must transcend our belief in the necessity of the appearances or the limitations of humanity and expand our belief in creation, our belief in spirit, in God, and not just God out there, but spirit just as surely deep within each one of us. Without that belief, there will never be a complete healing. But always there will be those things that our collective consciousness fears and so creates. Ideas creep into our minds. There is an atmosphere of thought that surrounds us, and without even realizing it, too often we buy into that thought, whether it is for our highest good or not. We are infected, if you will, with what Ernest Holmes called race thought. And by race, he meant humanity, the human race, humanity's thought and thinking. Roy, in her article, speaks to that when she says, who can use the term gone viral now without shuddering a little? Who can look at anything anymore? A door handle, a cardboard carton, a bag of vegetables, without imagining it swarming with those unseeable, undead, unliving blobs dotted with suction pads waiting to fasten themselves on our lungs. Who can think of kissing a stranger, jumping onto a bus, or sending their child to school without feeling real fear? Who can think of ordinary pleasure and not assess its risk? Who among us is not a quack epidemiologist or virologist or statistician and prophet? Which scientist or doctor is not secretly praying for a miracle? Which priest is not, secretly at least, submitting to science? Collective consciousness. So, we try to be positive, but it's difficult not to get sucked into the maelstrom. Much in the same way that a roof, no matter how fine or how roof it might be, really cannot resist the pull of the tornado. We are here, it is all around us. How can we not get sucked in? How can we not? Why would we not? See, here's the thing, friends, it's a choice. And the choice is ours. It is never too late to walk through the door, to make a new choice. And there really is only now to make that choice. The time on either side of now stands fast. The past is the past, it's done, it's over, we can think differently about it, but we can't actually change it. And the future is, well, we don't know, do we? Except for the futures that we make up, most of which are not terribly satisfactory, unless we're seriously positive thinkers. The truth is, there really is only now. And what comes of the decisions and the choices that we make now. Here's the thing, it's never too late to give up our fear, or our doubts, or our prejudices, or our victimizations, or our little ways of thinking. It is never too late to give up our limited lives and grab hold of something greater. And there is something greater. Ernest Holmes wrote, "We are born of eternal day. The spiritual sun shall never set upon the glory of the soul. For it is the coming forth of God into expression." We are each of us. You are. That coming forth, that glory expressing. And we are not limited by space and time. Time is something we have made up. And the time that we have at our disposal is elastic. We can expand or contract it. We do it all the time. Time lingers for eternity for those who wait. It fills eternity for those who are alive and awake now. Find the time now. Take the time now to remove yourself from the appearances, to rest, to talk to God, and more importantly, to listen. Take time. Make time for the miraculous. We have a unique opportunity before us. An opportunity to remake our world, individually and collectively. And yet so often we hear and perhaps even say or think ourselves, when are we going to return to normal? Surrender, friends. We are not going to return to normal. Normal has been altered. It will never be the same. And the more we fight that, the truer that will become. Normal is what created what we are living with today. Normal is the mindset that created the mental atmosphere that engendered the world as it has become, and the response that met the crisis when it appeared. And because of the last nearly 3 years, we are not the same as we were. The impossible, the it couldn't happen here, the we are immune to such things happened. And we were not and are not immune. We see it all around us. Not just in the medical pandemical world, but in the political and environmental worlds in which we live. In one place in her article, Roy writes, from halfway across the world, we follow the statistics and hear the stories of overwhelmed hospitals in the U.S., of underpaid, overworked nurses having to make masks out of garbage bin liners and old raincoats, risking everything to bring succor to the sick. We read about states being forced to bid against each other for ventilators, about doctors' dilemmas over which patients should get one and which left to die. And we think to ourselves, my God, this is America. It was then when she wrote the article, and it's not so very different right now. Perhaps the pandemic is slowing. They say that it seems to be in some places. But slowing for what and for how long? And if we were to return to normal, would we not simply recreate this? If we were to return to the same way of thinking with the same expectations, would we not simply recreate this, or something equal, or, God help us, greater, if we do not change our minds, our thinking? Nothing could be worse than a return to normality. But there is light in this, if we are willing to look. History has something to teach us, if we are willing to learn. Historically, Roy writes, pandemics have forced humans to break with the past and imagine their world anew. This one should be no different. So what if we were to stop awfulizing it, which puts it out there and us over here and creates an enmity and a war of wits, if you will, that ultimately I'm not sure we could win? What if we saw it in a new way? What if we were to use this time to reimagine our world and our lives? To see this time with all of its faults and frustrations and inconveniences and shortcomings as a portal, a gateway between one world, the world in which we created the current situations and frustrations and diseases and divisions, and the next, a world that reflects our highest dreams and deepest aspirations. Can we go there? Do we have the courage to walk through the portal, to resist the urge to turn around and try to re-grab a past that is frankly gone? Can we walk through the portal into a conscious new world, taking only faith and love for all beings, and truth as we understand it? Have we the courage to walk through lightly, with little luggage, ready to imagine another world? And, as Roy says, ready to fight for it. Ready to take a stand, to speak our truth, to live that truth, and help create a whole new world. A world in which oneness is not just jargon, and love is not just a word in the dictionary, or a verb that we apply to those who pass the test. Will we have the courage to take the steps that must be taken, to speak the words that must be spoken, to do what must be done, no matter what? Or will we continue to weep and yearn for the way that it was, for our lost normality, the normality that created the conditions that we are currently living with? We have a choice. As Roy put it so brilliantly, we can choose to walk through it, dragging the carcasses of our prejudice and hatred, our avarice, our data banks and dead ideas and dead rivers and smoky skies behind us. We can go that way, I suppose, and drag all of that with us. And ultimately be surprised that our brand new world looks strikingly similar to the old world. And that our bright new world looks frighteningly like the old normal. And that we are living with the same problems and the same prejudices and the same enmities as we had before. Something has got to change. Once again, I find myself quoting Einstein and reminding all of us that we cannot solve our problems with the same thinking that created it. Our world will not be transformed in a way that supports the planet and humanity until we are transformed by the renewing of our minds. If you look around, if you pay attention, is it not obvious that it is time for change? The time is ripe for miracles. If the virus is a portal, and I think it well may be, then we must be courageous enough to walk through, leaving what doesn't work behind. May there be some resistance? Oh, I suspect there well may be. You know, politically, most of the last decade has been about a return to a previous era, to an earlier normal. Yet the thinking of that time led us to this time. And it well might again. How many times do we need to repeat the cycle before we say enough? Before we look for another way, before we commit to another way and are willing to fight for it. The battle is not against another people, any people or person. The battle begins in our own minds and hearts. We have to believe there is another way, a better way. And we have to declare our allegiance to it. The founders of this nation believed they had a better idea. And they declared it. And in support of that declaration, with a firm reliance on the protection of divine providence, they mutually pledged to each other their lives, their fortunes, and their sacred honor. It has been 250 years since that declaration was made. Maybe it's time for a new statement, a new declaration, a new commitment. A declaration made first in the hearts and minds of those who believed in and are willing to rely upon the protection and support of divine providence. Might we start here? Yes, we are a small group, and the problem looms quite large. But then again, I am inspired by the words of Margaret Mead, who said, "Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed individuals can change the world. In fact," she said, "it is the only thing that ever has." Our headlines in the evening news see the world as it is. Are you willing to see the world as it may be? Can you see the portal? Can you see the opportunity? Are you willing, with your consciousness, to be part of the solution? It all starts in mind. When the mind is ready to make the choice, the steps become clear. When we declare the opportunity rather than the awfulness, when we claim our own power as co-creators with creation itself, when what we believe becomes our guiding light, and oneness with all of creation becomes our sincerest truth. And when we make the decision to walk through the portal lightly, with little luggage, ready to imagine another world, and ready to fight our own fears and our own doubts to have it, others will follow. And together, we will create that promised land, that new and whole and peaceful world. And we will once again have recreated paradise. There's work to be done. But if not us, who? And if not now? If not now, when? So there's my thinking this week. I'm checking up on what you've been writing. Yeah, Heidi, yeah. Anything can happen. And too often, I think in our minds, we have a tendency to go to anything can happen is a bad thing. A tendency to say, oh my God, anything can happen. Instead of anything can happen. And yes, that absolutely means anything good can happen, and it can. And I think it will. If we are willing to let go of this love affair we seem to have with the way that it was, and instead love the way that it is, and love what we are moving toward, and how we are moving toward it. Yeah. Hi, Laura. We're working, incidentally, Laura, on getting what is in here into using this, what is in that other little box that you mailed me. So it looks like my MP4s are too big. So I'm working on converting and making them MP3s because you can't see it anyway. I'll keep you posted. We haven't forgotten. We are working. It amazes me that all of this chatter, well, not all of the chatter since the very beginning, but all of the chatter certainly in the last year or so is in here. It's in this little thing. Scary. Scary. Fabulous. Scary. But scary nonetheless. Well, you know, Heidi, yes, I think, how could we not be sympathetic to those who have suffered and lost, and the losses are mind-boggling. Lost lives, lost property, lost hope, lost dreams. A lot of that has gone by the wayside. And the rich have become richer, staggeringly so. So much so that I think if they just put a tax on what they've made in the last 2.5 years, it would take care of a lot of the social problems we have today. But I'm not going to get on that soapbox right now. Many have grown and become empowered. And I think if we can gather together with those who have grown, who are willing to look at the world in a new way, who are not trying to return to a previous time, but instead are trying to create a new era, that's pretty exciting. That's pretty exciting. With the protection and the guidance and the creative force of divine providence. I love that phrase. I think our ancestors knew what they were talking about. What do I know? But I think they did. And I would like to think that at some point, generations from now, they will be saying from us, those people knew what they were talking about, knew what they were doing, knew what they were creating, and created something that is lasting and good and creative and empowering. That would be my dream. That would be my hope. What a great legacy that would be, wouldn't it? For generations to come to say they broke free, they walked through the portal and created this. That's a legacy that it would be lovely to leave. So, my darlings, prayer support. What can I assist you with in prayer, knowing that that which we claim becomes a reality because we believe that? And belief is the key. Belief is the secret ingredient. The yeast, I liked that. I had that thought, and it kind of made me happy. The yeast that makes the situation rise. Spiritual yeast. Well, there's probably another whole talk. Mental note. I have to be in the right mood to write that one, though. Okay, there. And I'll either forget it and it'll go away, and we'll all be glad that it did, or something good will come of that. Who knows? So, my darlings, prayer support. I kind of know what's going on in your lives. But tell me how I can support you in prayer to make it even better. Yeah. Deborah, darling. Thank you for being here. Thank you so much for being here. Oh, I miss you. I am here every Sunday at noon and every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Same bet channel, same, however that goes. Right here. Be here with us. It's the most wonderful community with the most amazing thinking, creative people. Be part of it. I would love to have you be here. We could connect twice a week. Oh, I would love that. Yes, Heidi, the finish line is in view. The project is, wow, you're so close. So, just support for getting it over the line in time and perfectly? Is that what we're looking for? And then what is the next thing? Okay, this is phase one. Okay, got it. Laura, darling? Deborah? How can I support you in prayer? What does your heart desire? Ooh, got it. Much excitement, much excitement, much excitement. Anything else, my dears? Of course, you know once I start, you can still put anything you want in the comment box, and I will keep my eye on it. And add it to the prayer. I'm trying to go back and forth between two different pieces of paper here, and it's working. It's just working slowly. Got it. Got it, Heidi. So let me begin. And let's see where this takes us. Got it. And I'm going to ask you to just relax for a minute. Close your eyes if that's comfortable for you. You don't have to. Or simply soft focus on something lovely. A flower, a light. You can focus if you choose on the little candle behind me. And breathe. Take a deep breath if that's what your body is calling for in the moment, or just a gentle breath that whisks you away to a deeper place. And know with me that as close as that breath, as near as the air that is touching your skin, as closer even than your next thought, there is the presence of God. There is creation. There is all possibility. There is the anything can happen there. Right there where you are right now. It is as much a part of you, more a part of you, than your breath and your thinking. Closer than anything or anyone could ever be. For it is who you are. Spirit expressing. The power of the universe working in you, as you, through you now. And so I declare in this moment that God moves through these words to create an even greater reality. I claim for Keith and for Patricia peace of mind and healing of bodies. And a gentleness of existence. I claim for Laura's cousin in Sedona peace, strength. I claim for Tucker resilience, stamina, and peace of mind. And for Lynn healing from the lung transplant that he has undergone, and knowing that he is not just healed, but better than ever. I claim for Joan inner vision, peace of mind, and happiness. I claim that she finds a new joy in living and a new way to express the artist that she is. I claim for Jennifer the awareness of the goal that she claimed last Sunday, that it stays in the forefront of her mind and guides her on the perfect path, in the perfect way. I claim for Heidi that phase 1 of her project now crosses the finish line successfully, jubilantly, graciously, gloriously. And that it is followed very quickly by phase 2, which makes the idea real in the world, brings it to fruition in a way that the entire world can see. and that in the meantime the voices in her head are muted, except for the one which speaks loud and clear. I know for Deborah joy at Big Sky, success for her. And I know as well peace of mind for the families of her 2 aunts who have passed. That they remember the good, that they hold the love. And that their lives have been blessed. And there is a legacy of love that remains. I know for Laura, health, well-being, easy breathing. I know for Kat success in all of her endeavors, but especially in the finding of the perfect agent and the selling of her scripts. And I know for the world that anyone, anywhere who is living in fear, that they find peace, that they are safe. This world is changing now, and it is changing for good. And we are grateful for that and for all of the things that we have claimed for. We know that they are now becoming a reality. Grateful, grateful, truly, truly grateful. And we let that be so. And so it is. We have a closing song. How perfect. Little John Lennon to see us out today. I hope the video feed has been restored. But if you can still hear me, that's probably the most important thing. You know what I look like, and I'm not going to change drastically in the next few minutes. May we all be transformed. May our world be transformed. May our lives and our hearts and our minds be transformed by the renewing of our thought. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for your love. Thank you for your support. Thank you for being such an important part of my life. I love you. I'll see you on Wednesday. And so it is. Don't forget to listen to the song.